Thank you for joining us back. This is part two of Barcelona transfer 2022-23 season. And we'll pick up where we left off. Here we go. All right, next on the list is Christensen. So Christensen came from Chelsea. He's a good player, very tall. Not very tall, but tall for our center backs. So I think he will be next to pt2 and Araujo. He'll be the next tallest center back we have. So he's a tall center back, good playing center back. Very solid defensively and good in the air. So his main attributes and his main things that will be helping us for this year would be his size and his ball playing ability, as well as his defensive skills. So he's not the greatest defender, probably a little bit better than Eric Garcia, but nowhere close to defending as Araujo or Jules Koundé. So he's probably beneath them, but above above Eric Garcia when it comes to defending. But then he has some advantages over Jules Koundé, which is his size. So him being a bit bigger, he's not as strong or physical as Jules Koundé, but he does have that size that allows him to win headers and positioning himself in certain positions. Not as fast as Jules Koundé, but once again, he's a smart player. So he's good defensively. So he's good at reading the play, intercepting, and then finding solutions defensively that don't necessarily require strength and speed. But once again, he's not necessarily the most reliable player. But because what he does add is an option. So we don't have to rely on Christensen. As long as Jules Koundé, Eric Garcia, and Araujo are healthy, but he's another option. And if one of them do go down, he's a good option to come in for a few games here or there. If someone has lost form or if someone has a little nick or knock. So like if Araujo has a little nick on his ankle or something, then we don't need to risk him playing a game maybe against Valencia, because you could throw Christensen and maybe Koundé or Christensen and Eric Garcia in. And rest him for a game against Bayern Munich. So then when we go into against Bayern Munich, we have a fully healthy, fully recovered, fully ready to go, Araujo. So that's what he gives. That's what Christensen's probably main asset to us will be for the whole season, is just the ability that we should be able to help keep other players healthy by allowing them to rest and give them giving them time. Whether it's a sub off the bench, we can bring him in if we're up big or something, and still know we're going to get a quality defender and get quality defending in, so guys can still get rest and still get their time to recover, and hopefully that will reduce injuries. I mean, a lot of this team is about providing options so that we're not reliant on one or two players. We're not reliant on any one player, Araujo, to play every game. We're not reliant on Eric Garcia. We have guys, so in case one guy goes down, there's another guy. The only problem with our center backs is that they're all right-footed, so we don't have any real left-footed center backs. So that's that hopefully won't be a problem. But that's the only thing I see, and from my understanding, that's the main reason why we're going after some other center backs in the market, is that they're now trying to find at least one solid left-footed center back to be able to play on the left side to back up Eric Garcia, because it seems like it's Eric Garcia's left-sided center back position to lose. So. All right, so we've wrapped up the center backs now. We're going to move on to Frank Kessie. All right, guys, so last on our transfer list, just the order we did it, not because I think he's worse or least or whatever, or because he was our last transfer in, is Frank Kessie. Now, Frank Kessie, I think, is probably, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I think he might be the actual signing of because he was a free transfer too, he might be the signing of the summer. And it might take a little bit of time for people to recognize just how good Frank Kessie is. But right now, he might be our best interior on the team. That's above Frankie de Jong and above Xavi. And if you look at my videos, you guys will know that I love Xavi. Like, Gangster Xavi's my guy. But Frank Kessie, what he offers to this team, I mean, it's I just hope that Xavi can develop and learn from Frank Kessie and hopefully grow into, even better version of a sort of, Xavi / Frank Kessie, but in Gavi's own way, right? I don't want Xavi to be anybody else. I want Xavi to be Xavi and learn from the players that in and around him. So let's get into it. So Frank Kessie now came from AC Milan. He really is. He's a very unique player. Not many players like him. So I'm going to use all the references, but just because I say he's like somebody doesn't mean I think he's going to be better than this person, is greater than this person. It's not really like this. Just a reference so you could see the type of player he is. But he's a playmaker. in the same sense, a box-to-box playmaker, which is a very unique thing. So usually box-to-box guys are usually guys that just give you a lot of energy, but not a very lot of not a lot of skill. They're just box-to-box, but they're not really providing a lot of skill. But he's different. He's a playmaker. So in other words, this is a guy who can get the ball deep, so he can run into our defensive end, pick up the ball defensively like Xavi used to do, almost like a second holding midfielder, with his back to our opponent goal, hold off a defender and make a pass and keep us moving to actually make us press resistant. So if you've been watching any of the preseason games, whenever it's like him and anybody else, especially if it's him and Busquets, and he comes, or him and Pedri, if he drops back, he adds an easy outlet. It's almost a guaranteed outlet because he's able to hold the ball up, and then because he's strong enough to hold the ball up and then make a play from that. So that's very important. Then so he makes plays and is able to progress the ball when it defensively. Then he's also able to do the same thing offensively. So if we also look in the preseasons, you see that he's been able to get himself into the box and get himself shots on goal. He hasn't been able to score. I think he scored one, but he should have at least 4 or 5 goals. Like, he's had so many opportunities to score goals. And I think that goal scoring will come as he gets more and more comfortable in the team. But you can already start to see that in the preseason, his ability to get from one end to the other. So that is something that I think he's going to add, which is something we never really had. Like, you could think back to Eric Vidal and those type of guys. They're similar, but Kessie's, he's younger right now, so he's got a little bit more energy. I'm not going to say he's better than Vidal or worse than Vidal, but you can see that in our system, we need that type of player. Xavi was just the ultimate in when it came to that type of player because he would box-to-box work, but he would also had skill level that, no other, even though he didn't have the speed or the strength of these guys, his dribbling and his other things and his passing, made up for that. Everybody else has to use their speed and their skill, the speed and strength to make up for what Xavi did with his dribbling. So we're not going to really get a Xavi like that, not from Gavi, not from anybody else, but we need that box-to-box person, the person that can come back, help with the press, to relieve the press, but also get forward and be a late arrival in the box. And that's what he provides. And he's a little bit better right now than Gavi. I mean, Kessie's only, 25? He's still young, entering his prime. And he's still got, almost 10 years on Gavi. So, we got to make sure we don't, take it too serious when it comes to Frank Kessie taking that spot or anything like that. So, all right, I think he could be the possible theft of the actual transfer. He might go down as one of the best transfers ever on a free, and he could be the big difference coming forward for this year. All right, guys. So we're going to now get into how I think all this goes together on the team. Take care. All right, so just before we get out of here, now we're just going to get to how do all these things come together. Now, I showed individually what they add to us. Now we're going to break down how they bring it down together. So let's start with the defense and work our way up. So with the defenders, like I was saying individually with them, Christensen and Koundé both add options to us. So they add options, they add quality, so that provides a Rouge with a possible partner. So it really does come down to, if we're going to be playing two at the back, it becomes down to Eric Garcia, Koundé, and Christensen fighting out for being a Rouge's partner or being the right back on that side, right? So that's what they're fighting for. If we're going to do three at the back, which I think we're going to see a lot more of, then those same three guys are going to be fighting for those last two spots, right? So that's what they bring, the options and flexibility for us to play four at the back or three at the back, depending on how we match up with other teams and other teams match up with us. So I think Xavi has a lot of options with that, and I look forward to seeing what he does with that. It will be frustrating at times, but I'm sure I will custom a few times, but we'll go from there. All right, and then in midfield, we only really have brought in one midfielder, and that's Kessie. And like I was saying to you in the last segment there, I think Kessie is going to be a steal. I think he's extremely important, his ability to get up and down the pitch as a good, solid box-to-box midfielder, but also being a playmaker and being very press resistant. His ability to hold up the ball with someone on his back, and then being able to make a pass off from that, just like a center forward would do. So with him and Lewandowski, we should be able to break a lot of presses, and then as long as we can get the ball back to Busquets and then to Pedri, we can do a lot of real good counterattacks, right? So we'll see how that works out, and I think that Kessie should see a lot of playing time, especially against very high pressing teams. So when we get into teams that like to press, I think we're going to see a lot of Kessie. All right, then we're gonna get into Rafinha. So Rafinha, once again, I think a lot of this season, this off season here, this transfer market was about getting Barcelona options, making sure that Xavi had a lot of options to solve solutions. Now, the only problem I have with Rafinha is right now he seems very one-sided, one-footed. He's going left, left, left. So if he's on the right wing, he's cutting in left. If he's on the left wing, he's staying out wide and looking for the cross. So it's very easy to guard. Hopefully, he'll get more confidence and be able to figure that out, or we'll have to do a lot of like flipping and flopping with him and Dembele just to try to make sure defenders kind of forget who's on what side. Then we're going to get into, and lastly, we're going to get into Lewandowski. Like I said to you, Lewandowski's ability to make runs in and out of the box is just absolutely amazing. So his ability to make runs in and out of the box, his ability to hold up the ball, also provides us with a press release valve. So with the center forward coming back to be able to hold out the ball, feeding it off to Rafinha, Dembele, or Fati creates a threat. So now we have Kessie who can hold up the ball. We have De Jong that can hold up the ball. We have Lewandowski to hold the ball. Well, clearly, Busquets is very press resistant. So we have a lot of individual press resistant players. So we should, as long as they can start working together and getting all the timing down, we should be a very press resistant team going into this new season. All right. So this team should be very solid now. It's one or two bugs, but I think as is, this team should still be able to go out and compete for a treble. All right. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and checking this out. Sorry for all the, all that time away, but I'm back and I'm trying to be consistent. I will be pushing up probably another video later on soon, so you should get 2 videos soon because we got a lot to discuss. All right, guys, take care. And don't forget to like and subscribe.